What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 233. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live when we go live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you join in on the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic, like Moose says. Drop topic by topic over on YouTube and on full on Fridays the very next week on YouTube and podcast services. Last but not least, any way you want to support the show or want to help the show, it may seem small, but does help out a lot, like shares, reviews, subscriptions, all that fun stuff. If you can take the time to do that, we'd love and appreciate you for it. Today, kind of playing a little bit of catch up because we haven't done a podcast in a few weeks, so sorry. We had the holiday break, which we had some episodes go up there. Hope you guys enjoyed that with the Game of the Year discussion, as well as, oh boy, some other fun topics that we talked about there. My memory is cheeks. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a rocky start getting back into the year. Streams have been good. I've been playing through Black Myth Wukong, which has been a lot of fun. But in terms of the podcast side of things, it's been just a rough start getting back into it. Coming back from the trip, we were a little bit sick, so we were dealing with that, and then motivation levels, as we've talked about before, here and there. But we're back now. The goal is to, kind of focus this year and go forward with some good momentum and good routine and scheduling, I guess you could say, and, have some fun, one, for myself talking about these things, and then hopefully, two, you guys latch on to some of the topics and conversations, and, we have a good time with that, whether it's conversations in the podcast or afterwards. That's the goal pretty much with these going forward. So we got two topics today. One is a bit of catch up of like what's been going on since the holidays, mainly in terms of game stuff, but I'll touch on a few things they did once or while I was out in Colorado for the holidays. And then we'll be jumping into more specific video game, but let's get on into it. So, Moose is somewhere and I don't know. So yeah, holiday break was good. Had a nice time hanging out with a lady's family and celebrating the holidays there. Got to see Sonic 3, which, not bad. Shout out to Turn-Based TJ for, having me watch the first two. I didn't give him a fair shake, and then when I actually tried it, I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. It's not grade A cinema or anything like that, but it's a fun time, good time with characters and a decent story there. And I want to say Sonic 3 did the same. Keanu was good as Shadow. Really enjoyed Jim Carrey as Robotnik and Robotnik. That was funny, but yeah, there's a lot of goofy moments in the film. Obviously, it's more catered towards the younger audience, but it was a nice time just to go out, go to the Alamo. It's something I always try and do when I'm out there because that's just a great movie-going experience. So did that. Had a good time with that. And then another thing that I had the opportunity to do was go to, shout out to Mile High Comics, another staple that I try and do whenever we go out there. Huge comic book store. Just pretty much like a whole warehouse size, just filled with comics, graphic novels, statues, Funko Pops, like you imagine it. Like if you are into anything Star Wars or Star Trek or superheroes, Marvel, DC, collectibles, anything like that, you need to go there. If you're in the Denver area, definitely highly recommend that. I remember going years ago and just having like this euphoric moment of like, holy shit, this is amazing. And that doesn't go away. You go there, or every time I've gone there, it's that same experience, or at least a similar experience of like, you could spend hours in there and just get lost in all of it. And yeah, I went for a few hours on my own this trip and walked out with some fun stuff, some good Scotty Young covers that I was looking at and looking for, as he's an artist that I've been following on Instagram for a little while. And then I remember some of his stuff from the Secret Wars second run back in like 2015-16, I think it was. Maybe it was a little past that. So seeing his success and wanted to get a few of his variant covers that he's done, and then just find some goodies here and there. along the way, some books to read, which I need to be better about in terms of the comic side of things. But it was a great time. But game-wise, I actually had some time to play some games while I was out there. Lady, her mom, and myself had a few days during that holiday break where we kind of just, said, nah, we're not going to make any plans. We're just going to chill at home, kind of do our own thing, have a show on in the background, and just really de-stress, disconnect from the world. And it was really nice. I had a great time hanging out with them passively, and then also catching up on some games that I had talked about over the last podcast, of like games that I didn't really get to, but I kind of dipped my toes into. But I played a few either all the way through or mostly through on that trip, so I kind of wanted to talk about those. First one was Plucky Squire. I think I had talked about this on last episode of the podcast, how we did the one stream of it the day of release, and it was fun, it was cute. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping for or expecting going in, and I've heard that from a few people since the game's come out, of like it just didn't click. And I don't think it's bad in any way. I think it's catered more towards a younger audience, and which is totally fine. With the art style and then how the gameplay works out, it's very not hand-holdy in a way. Sometimes it feels that way, where it's kind of just putting it right in your face, like without telling you the answer, just the most most like little discreet, like, oh, it might work if you do X or Y or whatever. It doesn't really give you that chance to figure it out for yourself. So it was a little simple in those terms, which I think from what Devolver typically gives us, I think the indie scene was looking a little bit more forward towards that, but it just was not, like I said, catered towards that audience, I think, and that's totally fine. But I still had a good time with it. Had a fun little story twist towards the end. I mean, there's the twist in the beginning where you kind of learn why you can be 2D, 3D, that kind of thing. Humgrump was a good villain, and they had a lot of humor and cute moments throughout. But yeah, I decided to start that over and play that from start to finish. That was a good time. I had a little bit of a heart attack with the PlayStation 5 as I take a little segue here. So I did bring the PS5 to Colorado to play these games. Yes, a little egregious, bringing the whole console. I agree. But I wasn't sure. We didn't have a lot of plans going into the trip, so I wasn't sure how to fill my time. Totally fine, travel-wise. We've done that before with North Carolina, bringing the console. That was totally fine. Started up Plucky Squire, played it for about an hour, and then all of a sudden the system just went poof, and just turned off on its own. And I was like, well, that's not good. So I thought maybe it's weird, just glitching the power or whatever. So I tried again. Nope, another hour of playing, boop, gone. So I was like, that's weird. Turns out I had to clean it. And it wasn't a simple clean of just like the fans. I had to, Lady was like MVP, super engineer, God mode in this, where her and I took apart the PS5 like completely. Every screw, every ribbon cable, everything had to come out, taken apart. There's not a power supply, but like a vent that's buried under everything that was just blocked completely, unfortunately, with like dust and whatnot. So we had to clean that out and then reconstruct this thing. We were so worried. We're like, will it even turn on? Will it be fine? Shout out to whoever put that video on YouTube, but we were able to take it apart, disassemble it, clean it completely, put it back together, and it worked fine. Like a dream after that. But yeah, that was like, okay, yeah, don't panic. I want to say I held it pretty well. I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. Can't do anything now or anything then. So we got it working. Played through that. Another game I kind of dipped my toes into was House Flipper. Now, I've talked about Power Wash Simulator, how this was a game that kind of took me by surprise. Why would it be fun to power wash a bunch of items and clean for hours and hours on end. Well, House Flipper kind of hit the nail on the head too with that. So House Flipper kind of hit the same vibe, as a power wash simulator, I would say, where it is very turn your brain off, enjoy it, and very satisfying just to complete mundane tasks. Sounds kind of weird, but simple tasks is cleaning, changing out electrical outputs, or decorating a house, or whatever it is. So essentially what it is like power wash. You get the different missions where it's like, hey, I need this room repainted, or I need it cleaned and taking the trash out and whatever. And you just go into the house, clean different aspects that they have asked you to from the customer side of things, and then leave, get money. Great. So there's that side of it, which I really enjoyed. This the checkbox nature of it, similar to power wash with the endorphin rush of the dings. Sit here, chill for podcast. Doing that, very satisfying. But then the other side of the candle, or the game rather, is you're flipping houses. So you can also purchase houses from the money that you get from these jobs, decorate them fully. You can either keep them for yourself, make them your home base or whatever, or just, a little pet project, I guess you could say. Or you can sell them. So I tried my hand at that, and I don't know. I didn't really do great with it. I don't know if it's just I don't have that mind for decorating, or that eye for decorating rather, but I was kind of struggling. I was like, that goes here, this goes here. I don't know what to do, anything really fancy with the walls or whatever. So I haven't jumped back into it since the trip. I don't know if it's just that point where I kind of got through most of the jobs and it was kind of winding down, where the house flipping part of it and the decorating and selling the houses was more what was needed to be done. But yeah, it was a good time to jump into. I think it was when I had got it on PSN or PlayStation, it was like $5, maybe less. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll give it a try. I know they do have a sequel that was out more recently. But yeah, it was a fun time. If this is one of those things where you want that power wash type simulator type game, I would highly recommend that. It's funny how the simulator genre has kind of taken that and ran with it and been very successful, which is great. Next one I played more Marvel Rivals. We talked about that definitely over the holiday break. Enjoying that. Since I've been home, they've released a few more heroes like Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. Played it here and there. It's fun for a while. It's sadly getting to that Overwatch point of like, if you don't play with people or have a group, the longevity, at least of the play sessions, it's like, I don't know. But I am having fun trying out new heroes. I've tried out Squirrel Girl since. She's a lot of fun. I've tried out Moon Knight, which I absolutely love, him and his onks, just kind of strategizing with that, where to place them to kind of hide them from other players. And I've done pretty well with both of them. Rocket Raccoon I've still used for my healer, and I do pretty decent with him as well. In terms of heroes that I still want to try out, I'm trying to think of if there's anybody that stands out. I want to try Scarlet Witch a little bit more. I've only played her like against the CPUs. She seems a little tricky. Psylocke, just because she's a cool character in general. Spider-Man and Iron Fist seem like you got to play really aggressive, which I don't know if that's what I want to do, because boy howdy, supports, you guys know, and healers, they will just run in and punch your your shit if your attack people aren't watching out for you. So I don't know, we'll see. The last one that comes to mind, at least from this recent trip and stuff, was Animal Well. Now, Animal Well, we also talked about over the Game of the Year stuff. We had played it over PAX East weekend, and then also tried it at launch. And it was a cool experience. It's got a very interesting vibe to it, where I think I kind of compared it in one of the early podcasts, the PAX East podcast. I compared it to, if you've been to Disney World, like Pandora and Avatar Land. How the colors are those purples and blues and everything is very, I don't know, night-esque on that one ride. It's got that cool color scheme. It's got this mysterious vibe to it, but all you are is you're this little blob, and it's Metroidvania where you're running around trying to solve different puzzles and platform puzzles and whatnot. And the more and more I played it over this trip, it was just sucking me in. It gives you very limited instructions, and it does not hold your hand at all. It is very much you discovering through trial and error, what can you do, how can you solve this puzzle, what can you figure out, and some of the things, the tools that you unlock through the secrets that you find in little chests and whatnot, you think that you use them for one purpose, and then you, through just trial and error playing the game, you learn that they're used for a whole other thing that you weren't even expecting. I think I had at least 2 moments in this game where my mind was just absolutely blown of like, how did I not think to do that? That's insane that actually works. And then it's just like, oh my God, I know how to solve that puzzle over in that room over there now because I could do this. It's just like, oh. So apparently Animal Well has like layers behind its story. There's no like hard concrete story where you're going to be like walking away like, yeah, that was really good. But in terms of like things you can do and objectives, there's a few different ones. I played it all the way through. I guess you could say that typical ending. And then from there I was like, yep, I want to get the platinum in this. So I just went from guides from there. And some of those secrets, I'm like, how the fuck were you even supposed to discover that in the slightest? Like, yes, there's things that can lead you that way or give you the clues, but maybe it's just me and my dumb brain. That was not crystal clear. So Animal Well was a great time. I highly recommend that. Like I said, it's not hand-holdy, so that could be a little frustrating where the direction's not there. I just took it as like, take it one room at a time and really try and just connect every possible path that you can find. And then from there, some objectives will make themselves clear as you go through. So Animal Well was a lot of fun. I highly recommend that one. I'm trying to think. I think those are the only things on vacation that I played since I have been home. Oh, no, that's a lie. I did try Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. Only played that for maybe 20 minutes. I think this is another one I talked about I was excited for last year, but just didn't try it out. Interesting concept. I just don't think it was a game that I was really ready for at that time. It's like super strong narrative, kind of murder mystery, action-y, and yeah, I just kind of dipped my toes into. It's a little buggy, which is unfortunate. I don't have a much better descriptor for that. I haven't played it since. Something I want to try, but I just wasn't in the headspace for it at that time. Since I've been home, it's been still more Marvel Rivals. I've been getting more into WWE 2K24, playing more GM mode, which we'll kind of talk about a little bit more next topic, at least the 2K franchise. Yeah, I'm on like season 4 of a GM mode against 3 CPUs, and I'm having a great time with that. What else have I been playing? I just started Epic Mickey's Rebrushed. It's like a remaster of a Wii U game, I think. Absolutely gorgeous. It's like cartoon Mickey getting sucked into this like Merlin painting thing. No, not Merlin. Sorry, Yensid painting world of like old forgotten lands or stories. So you have like Steamboat Willie's in there and like some old theme park rides and whatnot, but it's just platformer. Go around, you can paint stuff to fill it in, you can use paint thinner to get rid of it. You're going against the big baddies of these like ink monsters. Oswald the Rabbit's in there as a baddie. So that was kind of cute and fun. Looking forward to playing more of that. Oh, And to close it out, when I got home, I wasn't sure what to play. I wasn't sure what to focus on. So I was looking through my catalog and decided to replay in order to prep for a new game. I decided to replay Red Dead Redemption. Wow. I know the game's like a couple years old. 10. It was Xbox 360 gen. It still looks pretty good. Like, yeah, it's not, in comparison, amazing character model wise, but for what it's worth, for how old it is, it still looks pretty dang good. So yeah, I've been going through that again. I think from the stats, it says I'm like a third to a halfway done with the game already, which I'm kind of surprised. I'm over in Mexico, just started that section. But yeah, playing it as an adult now, and I guess paying a little bit more attention to some of the stories, I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't realize how weird some of the characters are and how kooky they are, and like some of the narratives that they're telling here. For me, seeing John Marston and like how he's going about, like he seems very, well, redemption's part of the story title. Like you could tell he's there to do right by his family, and his motivations are clear. And like, it's only when characters really start to push his buttons that he kind of gets like almost an asshole, which is fair. There was a few characters, man. That old man with it was like snake oil salesman. Oh, he was annoying the shit out of me. But I've been enjoying that. But yes, I've been playing that because it's like, I haven't played Red Dead 2. I did play the intro probably when the game launched a few years ago, trudging through the snow, and then I was like, it was another one of me being dumb. Like I should have loved it. Ooh, it just wasn't clicking with me at the time, and I haven't gone back and given it a chance. Now, granted, Red Dead 2 seems to be way bigger than Red Dead 1, which good in a way, and that's kind of how it should be. But like, ooh, that's gonna be a big pill to swallow. But yep, I've been playing Red Dead 1 to then eventually move into Red Dead 2. It's just a matter of keeping my focus on it. I don't know why. I'll be enjoying a game, and then for some reason it's just like, why don't you keep playing it and finish it? And it's not like, oh, it's bad or anything. It's just, I don't know, weird how my brain's like that. And I think that's why the backlog is piled on for so long, and why streaming definitely helps getting through games start to finish. But that's the goal off stream. I think that'll be what I'm playing primarily. Kind of looking into 2025. I know I talked about some titles, and it's bad that once again my memory is cheeks and I can't even remember what I talked about on last episode's podcast of like what I'm excited for, because I can't remember if I talked about South of Midnight. Definitely looking forward to. But regardless, circling back, I don't feel like there's a lot of games in 2025 that are coming out that I'm like really amped for, except for like some indie titles. So I don't know if 2024 is just going to be like a real strong backlog year. Now, granted, it's only January and I'm saying that things can change, but we'll have to see. So I hope to get through that. I know I've talked about Horizon here and there while I played the first one. The second one I like to get through. Jedi Survivor I made through last year at the end. Trying to think of what else. There's a bunch of stuff, but like games that I was really excited for, really hyped for, really looking forward to, and when they came out, it was just like, yeah, whatever. So we'll have to see, but just catching up on some games, like I said, with you guys. That's what I've been, when I delved into beat over the vacation, than what I've been playing recently. So looking forward to getting into more of that stuff as the year goes on. So